Okay, so finally back after the holidays. This is for YouTube, by the way. So yeah, finally back after the holidays, and we're starting off with Tomb Kings and Beastmen, playing against Dark Elves first, and we are deciding to go for a rush due to the properties of the map. This hill here on Alpine Ridge is pretty it makes it very hard to get artillery shots over. Of course, we could have gone for a Casket of Souls, but not what I'm looking for today. I also noticed that we forgot to take anti-skirmish tools outside of our carrion and cavalry. So we are in to be kited like crazy. So that's a bit of a bad situation. We'll have to dodge with this scorpion to make sure it doesn't die, but shots come in on my cavalry carrion. They're going to intercept these guys. And chariots are going to move into Arc in the Black. It's going to be spirit leeching the dark shards because they are pretty threatening. And we just want to negate as much damage as possible here. These dark shards can do a lot of damage, but with spirit leeches, they will eventually run out of ammunition. It's just really too bad we didn't take anti-skirmish. I forgot my skeleton horseman. But that's fine. Let's see, Malice Darkblade is in there too. And let's see, some feral manticores are going to be a bit annoying. I feel like we'll be able to deal with them though. Oh, looks like repeater crossbows are coming back in. And the hope is that I can get Arc in the Black close enough to one of them where I can get a skeleton summon there. I'm going to continue pushing up with our infantry, since their support means that we'll be able to win fights against the cavalry. Ooh, and Feral Manticore actually lands. So we're going to try to surround it with our horsemen. And keep running up with Arc in the Black. We're taking shots along the right side, but we are okay with that. Let's see here. Oh, Malice is going for Arc in the Black. A little bit scary there. And Soul Stealer, I think. The lesser Soul Stealer coming down on top of all my stuff here. So you can throw some physical resist for this big engagement. Let's see if our skeletons can bog things down a bit. We have a big cavalry charge here from the side. And our little bit of mobility seems to be paying off. The big part really though is how much actual, let's see what we're spirit leeching, is how much infantry we have here. Which in the big fight against cavalry, infantry will be helping us a lot. So these repeater crossbows move in. They get a shot off, but we can pin them down with skeletons. And a lot of those guys should be going down. Let's see, we'll save the charge on Arc in the Blacks. We'll wait for Staff of Nagash, since it lets us spirit leech faster, and all of our fights can basically be taken with the infantry. The main thing that would have stopped that from happening were the dark shards, but with them going down now, I think our opponent will be having a pretty hard time. Let's see, the cavalry force over here is closing in on these guys that are unsupported by infantry. We'll have to bring in our mobility to help, and hopefully we can get there in time. We'll see. Looks like we lost a unit of horsemen, and but we'll be able to chase off these repeater crossbows, no problem. Throw down another physical resist buff over there, and get our tomb scorpions moving up. Our Necrotect can save his heal. He doesn't need to use it now. And a spirit leech on these crossbow riders, I think, is the best option. Although maybe the Slanesh's Harvesters too, but it looks like they're about to break. I'm not going to use it on Malice though, since he is since he can use his abilities. And it looks like Slanesh's Harvesters are not routing off the map, so we'll have to spirit leech them to finish him off. Turns out the buff from the Dark Elves here, increasing their leadership quite a bit, could be a problem. Let's see. It looks like we've also ran out of cavalry. So some worries of being draw kited are in action. We do have a lot of time though, and a lot of spirit leeches to throw down. So we're not crazy worried. See Cold One Knights near the edge of the map. Going to see if we can intercept them with our Necrotect. And now we just got to figure out what we want to Spirit Leech. Let's see, I guess this cavalry here. That should be good. Let's see, for those crossbow riders, we'll just run away from them at this point. They can outpace me. And we really want to be keeping our horsemen alive to make sure that we don't get kited. Meanwhile, Tomb Scorpion will be dealing with this Manticore. Hopefully we can get it to rampage. And it looks like another Manticore is actually coming down that we'll be bringing our single entities to go deal with. This one is pulling out, but Malice is at the very least pretty stuck. So we'll have a Scorpion attempt to finish him. Let's get ready for another Skeleton Summon. We've rampaged that Manticore. And now it's just going to be chasing cavalry. So, pretty interesting game today. We have to be very careful not to get draw kited, I think. Have Arkin the Black with his Spirit Leeches, but I think we are on... We only have about 3 left, I think. So we'll have to use it a little bit sparingly. Have to very much make sure that we don't get kited to death. Or Dark Shards are coming in. We only have 1 unit of cavalry that we will want to babysit. And looks like the Manticore is coming back in now. Does rampage. And it looks like we might have a big fight here on our hands. I think the hope is that we'll be able to throw down our Ushapti summon here. Let's see, will that Manticore land though? Looks like that's a no. And these repeater crossbows, I think we want to finish off. There we go. We're finally dealing with this with these other Manticores, but we're surrounded by crossbows right now. We're going to be taking a lot of damage, and let's see if we can use up this Necrotech's heal. Big Spirit Leech comes in too, is pretty bad for us. On my Necrotech though, which means we actually managed to disengage before it gets all of its damage, but essentially it is all of that damage. Necrotech goes down, which is a bit sad there, but maybe we can get a surround here on these Dark Riders. They are mobile, but they are also approaching the edge of the map. If only Arkin the Black could get out of his infantry, then we'd be able to close in on these guys. And see, there we go. We get a huge catch on them. And with Arkin the Black engaging, I think we should be able to kill them. Malice has transformed, which means you can disengage with our skeletons there. And we just want to be getting a ton of damage on these crossbow riders. And there we go. One of them is routed. And we just have to deal with the other one. There we go. Let's see. They are slowly but surely going down. Our Scorpion. Left to fight Malice. That's a pretty bad idea. Let's just finish chasing off these crossbow riders. Also, get ready for another skeleton summon. I think we'll be able to get all of them before the end of this battle. Just based off the pace that it's currently going at. So nice. Let's see. I think if we don't want to get draw kited, the way to go is to deal with these Cold One Knights. And then we can use Arkin the Black to chase off the Dark Riders and fight everything else. It looks like Cold One Knights are engaging. We very much want to use our infantry to fight here. Ooh, a big shot coming in on Arkin. We can dodge it though. And yes, we want to be killing off these Cold One Knights. Malice, like he's chasing my Tomb Scorpion here. Not much we can do about it, but we don't want him to just be shooting at the back of that the whole game. Attacking the back of it the whole game, since that will mean it takes quite a bit of damage. So to escape, we'll pull it through the infantry here. And it does make it out, but at quite a few losses. It's crumbling now. And at minus 33 leadership, it might crumble away. Could definitely be a problem. Malice can just get stalled up by these skeletons. And now we're just chasing with Arkin the Black. Our opponent will run out of ammunition before he can kill all of our infantry. And we still have a healthy unit of Tomb Guard, which could probably solo the rest of the army. Winds of Magic, showing that we only have about one more Spirit Leech, is a bit worrying. And it looks like our opponent is playing evasive for now. We do lose one of our Tomb Scorpions, which is a bit of a sad time, but we also still have one left. So I think that's more than enough for to take on any fights. Arkin is also chasing off this sorceress. She's now routing. And we will have to get past these Cold One Knights, though. Let's see if this might be the time for a new Shopti summon, but I don't think so. Instead, we're going to bring in our Tomb Scorpion. And then we should be good. It's only too bad that it's so slow. At 50 speed, there are some infantry units that will move faster. Ooh, and looks like Cold One Knights want to take another fight. A Soul Stealer comes in from Slaanesha's Harvesters, or maybe it's just a normal debuff. Nope, it's a Soul Stealer, hitting my Scorpion for quite a bit. And Arkin the Black, too, makes things more worrisome. He takes a bit of damage, but we're trying to trade into our opponent. Problem is, though, Arkin is taking actually a lot of damage. I'll have to disengage with him. Supreme Sorceress moves in to engage. But Arkin manages to live. Thank goodness. Let's dodge those arrow shots. And I think we've recovered. Bit of a scary situation here, though. And we're going to have to be very on point with our dodges. Malice Darkblade, routing, is a good situation for us. And we can screen off those crossbows with our skeletons here. Arkin is crumbling, though. And I think it's about time he just engages. And he'll probably be dying. A little bit unfortunate, but we'll also see Malice dying too. We don't want to group up since he does have his AoE effects. But it looks like, yeah, there we go. Right on cue. Malice does indeed go down. So, we don't have any tools to chase, so our opponent can bring this to a tie if they so wish. In which case, we'll probably just concede since the time isn't very much worth it. So let's just wait for them to engage. And see how it goes. He could be waiting for our units to crumble away. That would be an interesting strategy. And he has his shots too from these crossbows, which could kill my Tomb Scorpion. We can't really summon our Ushapti, sadly, since they can't really summon our Ushapti since it takes 5 seconds for them to go down, and that wouldn't very much work out. Looks like our opponent idling now, and very much setting up to not engage. X4 speed? Question mark. Let's see if we can get them to at least speed it up. But for now, it looks like we may be blessed by a charge from the Cold One Knights. All we had to do was break our defensive formation to get our opponent to start trading into us. And thankfully he does. Another unit of Cold One Knights are coming in. Ooh, and a big rampage on these guys. Be very useful. So these guys will surely get taken out. And then I guess it's just the Supreme Sorceress over here. Some crossbows who are doing a lot of damage to my Tomb Scorpion, but one of them is out of ammo now. So let's see if we can actually get them to run out. Supreme Sorceress can move in. It's like she's going to take a hit from the Scorpion. Ooh, a very nice hit. And hopefully we get another. Ooh, nice, we get another. Gets pretty low, but not dead yet. And she disengages from the Scorpion. There are also some Cold One Knights here. And let's see if we can take them out. I see also, what's it? Frankie Knoll. Hello, and thank you for subbing. We're in a bit of a strange position here. Our opponent is trying their hardest to stall out the game as much as possible. I would throw down a new Shopti summon, but they will very likely just run away. So let's see if we can just, at the very least, give them very advantageous trades. Like maybe if I let them charge these skeletons in the back, then he'll finally decide to engage. And there we go. Repeater crossbows do indeed move in. They disengage immediately. And yeah, I guess we can take this time to go over questions if you guys want. If you have anything that you want to know about for multiplayer, we can go over it. Or personal stuff, as long as it's not too personal. Feel free to ask away while we get cycle charged. Let's see. Why do elves? How am I? I am doing amazing. We've been doing a lot of streaming, feeling very good on that front. And doing a lot of programming for my Discord bot too. We've been making a ranked ladder bot, and at the moment it's up and running. I'm really just making sure that it's tweaked up and ready to go for the ranked ladder bot. We're really just making sure that it's polished enough for the future, since I do plan to actually use it for multiple Discord channels, and it should be pretty sick. The hope is that we can actually queue up players between Discords, and then yeah, so they can queue up in different Discords, and then I'll match them up, give them maps, and then they can play a best of 3. Hello, sir. Do you play Grom the Paunch? Not a whole ton. Surprisingly, yeah, not a whole ton. Usually I like Skarsnik or yeah, I like my Skarsniks, I like my Warzags and Azag. Mostly just because I'm more used to them from the old days of greenskins. We haven't really played too much of the other greenskins. Are dwarves considered top tier? What factions are top tier right now? Interestingly enough, dwarves are considered bottom tier, I think. Even though they're a strong counter to many factions, they or maybe not bottom tier, but definitely low. Dwarves, they have a lot of they strongly counter a bunch of factions, and enough where they're banned in a lot of those matchups, but they have enough bad matchups themselves where they where you wouldn't really see them. So yeah, you never see them in first pick, and you never see them as a counter pick. So you never, yeah. There's not a whole lot of Dowie. There is also another interesting thing that Dowie. My theory is that Dowie don't have a lot of force multiplying tools. So cavalry allows you to cycle charge, and yeah, cavalry lets you cycle charge, but and skirmish missile units are able to get a lot of value if they can use up all their ammunition. But for dwarves, they don't really have any tools like that. So what happens is that are we gonna finally win this game? So dwarves don't really have a bunch of force multiplying tools. So when it comes to the highest level, a lot of players will get value off of ooh, we should throw down this so we hit army losses. Oh, finally we did it. Yeah. So dwarves, they don't really have a lot of tools to get extra value. So I think the better the two players get, the worse you'll see the dwarves playing. Which means at the highest level, you rarely see them at all, except for some rare counter picks. Now, I don't really need to go over this game, but we'll check some damage values here. And it looks pretty nice all around. I think the importance of having some skirmishers in quick battle is stressed because of this situation, but thankfully Goku here did not draw Kaitos. So our next game is Beastmen. We've got nice mobility for some archers and spears against the chaos on Mogre. We forgot to take our chaos spawn summon, and on for our caster we have Penumbral Pendulum. So immediately we can punish our opponent here for leaving his hell cannon a bit too far up by getting our throwing axes in on top of it. Our army is moving into engage, and it looks like what's this, piercing bolts or something? I'm not sure exactly, but we're able to dodge it. And the fact that we are able to dodge it means indeed it is a piercing bolts. So we're just going to be really focusing on dealing with that chaos hell cannon. And there we go, it's already down. So always be careful. You never want to Game of Thrones yourself. Put artillery in the front. Other than that, we'll stop talking about it in case people care about spoilers. And yeah, so let's see here. I guess we just begin cycle charging now without any of the without any ranged power left aside from these skirmishers. We will be able to get a lot of value here. This is a nice place to throw down a pendulum, since he's also stacking up his infantry. And there we go, we do demolish those Chaos Marauders. So a very good start for us. And I think this should be leading up to a pretty easy win, unless we get some very extreme misplays with the rest of our army. Our opponent looks to have a heavy infantry focus here. And that means that he's extremely susceptible to the cycle charge. We also have our chariot here, who will be able to do the same. And there we go. Nice collapse in on these Chaos Warriors. It means that they take a lot of damage. And while these spearmen screen away the Marauder Horsemen, we can also bring in our our throwing axes to deal with the Mirror Guard. We are using our throwing axes against the Mirror Guard specifically because I think that's the most elite unit here. Turns out I was wrong. It's actually Chosen. So we're going to be using our throwing axes on them instead. And there we go. We get a collapse on the right flank. We can chase those guys down with our cavalry. By the way, a small tech you can do is you select this army here, and whatever you want to chase with, you control left click, and then they'll chase while you can control the rest of the army. And while I was explaining that, these Chaos Warhounds have moved in to engage. We can stop one of them with our Ungor Spearmen, and we'll stop the other with our cavalry. This is also a very nice situation for us, because by bringing our cavalry to chase off these hounds, we also let them cycle charge at the same time. This is a common strategy that you see with Bretonia, where they'll bring their cavalry back to defend their archers, and then slam back into your front line, dealing lots of damage. And we can employ the same strategy here too as the Beastmen. And to pretty good effect. It looks like these Mirror Guard are about to rout, so we'll charge them in the back to get the charged in the back penalty, which should see them getting broken off. And now with army losses on the way, I think we just close it out by, I guess, chasing off the Sorcerer Lord is probably the best. We'll still have to watch out for piercing bolts though. We've been a little bit lazy on our engages here. Clumping up our units here means that some big abilities could go down. Looks like this is just a buff from the Sorcerer Lord though. And with that out of the way, I think we're in a good place. Those skirmishers should be routing from army losses soon, and then it's just the this Hell Cannon crew really that we have to worry about. Still though, it's taking a long time to hit army losses, but we should be there soon, and indeed we do hit it. So let's just close in on the Hell Cannon crew, and we'll be good. That is true. Beastmen Cav is indeed beautiful. And when managed properly and not pressured away, you can see they can really mulch any infantry. So there we go. Yeah, getting pretty good value there. Our throwing axes did amazing though. They were hitting elite infantry for most of the game. And losing that hell cannon was really bad for our opponent. So on to our next game. We're in a Tomb King's mirror matchup. We have a cheap line of infantry, a lot of chariots, one of my favorite Tomb King's units for winning the frontline fight, and a lot of hex wraiths, counting up to 3, trying to abuse the fact that Tomb Kings don't have a whole ton of magic damage usually. We'll be using these guys to deal with the backline and single entities. For our skirmishers, we've taken 3 skeleton horse archers. They can support in basically any situation. Just have to make sure that we don't get outpowered. But if they can use up all of their ammunition, then I think we're in a good place. I guess these guys will be mostly focusing single entities. We'll see how that goes. And yeah, there we go. That's our whole army. And we'll see how well our Tomb King's opponent does here. He has a pretty small army. And he's gone for mass Ushabti, which is a very good situation for us, I think. And with our superior cavalry force, we can move in and get the fight going as soon as possible. Our chariots can move up without too much worry, since the Ushabti will be focusing my horse archers here. And I think Arkin the Black will be moving in. I guess seeing how well Spirit Leech does on Ushabti. This is something that I haven't really tested out myself. So let's try that out. Our chariots don't have many infantry options to really worry about here. Oh, whoops, and we missed microed with our hex wraiths, but we recovered. And now that the Ushabti are gone, I think our chariots can move in. Our opponent does have his own chariots though, and they're looking to move in and block mine. So chariot on chariot action. Lots of counters happening there. Arkin the Black summoning some skeletons to block up my hex wraiths. But now I think we're settling into a pretty good position. The Ushabti are on the run. Our infantry is very healthy. And let's see here. I really want to see how well a Spirit Leech does on these Ushabti. For these ones, we'll be sending in our horse archers to deal with them. And let's get our hex wraiths over to the main fight. It's like our opponent says good luck. And it looks like our hex wraiths are actually taking quite a bit of damage. Something to worry about a bit. Presumably it's just because they have no armor and we have no heals to actually support them. So we'll have to be a bit careful there. However, we still have many a healthy hex wraith unit. So not too worried. We can now cycle charge 2 onto onto this infantry here. And let's bring Arkin the Black onto these guys. There's a bit of the threat of the skeleton chariots, but I think we have enough support here where we can where we don't have to worry about getting surrounded. For our own chariots, however, they are on the verge of death, which is too bad there. And yeah, not sure exactly what happened to them really, but I wasn't really paying attention to them. We left them in combat, and I would say that is a pretty heavy miss micro. Our hex wraiths on the right hand side are getting crushed pretty hard, and really it's just the infantry front that's working out, and the fact that we're able to shut down all of these Ushabti. We can bring in our skeleton summons, pin them down, and once they go down, the balance of power should swing in our favor. Our opponent just has a few skirmishers themselves, not especially threatening. And that reminds me, I should probably bring my skirmishers. I should disengage with them so that they can get their shots off. I think that'll get more damage on these Ushopti. And now that they're actually shut down, it means that our skirmishers can leave and go do their own thing. Meanwhile, our infantry line's doing very well. But with these chariots on the loose, it means even if we do have a bunch of infantry left by the end of it, that isn't exactly a free win. They can just get cycle charged to death. Let's see, chariots stopping my skirmishers very effectively, actually. And yeah, I think my skirmishers are going to be shut down for a while. Ushopti fleeing the Ushopti summon means that they will they'll be shut down for a while, but they also won't they'll be wasting my summon over here. Balance of power swinging back in our favor, and we have a skeleton summon. Not sure where I want to use that yet. I guess we'll use it here on top of these Ushopti here to free up our hex wraiths. We'll use our hex wraiths to take care of the chariots, who are the biggest threat to my infantry corps at the moment. Let's see, we should be winning the skirmishing game too. So I think if we manage to take out those chariots, then we're in a good position. Let's see, Ark in the Black getting bogged down by Nehakara warriors, and my Ushopti catching the Ushopti. We'll be able to wheel over and bring our hex wraiths in case our force here isn't able to deal with them. And that means that the Tomb Kings here is running out of units. Ooh, there is another unit of Ushopti here though, Ushopti bows that we need to take care of. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's also buff up the leadership of our hex wraiths to try and keep them in the fight as long as possible. And let's see, these guys are shut down. So I guess we just keep our infantry close and we should be good. There we go, those guys do fall. And the question lies on where I'll be spending my spirit leeches. I could use spirit leeches on top of Ark in the Black to try and take him out. Or we could use it on the chariots. I'm not sure what's best. These are pretty beat up though. But I would like to take out Arkin. So we'll start spirit leeching him. These chariots will be crumbling. And ooh, Arkin is actually getting caught up. So maybe we can go in for a pick. Ushoptis. Going for my lord though. A little bit of a threat. But with our pick here on Arkin, I think we're in a pretty nice position. We're going to be spirit leeching him again, using our ability cooldown and stopping the ranged units of our opponent with infantry. So things going about as well as expected. Our infantry advantage as always proving its usefulness, and we have some skirmishers coming in too that should be able to win the rest of the game pretty quickly. However, big Ushopti summon comes in on top of my lord. We do not pull out in time, and it means that he's going to be taking a lot of damage. We'll have to try to escape from there, and we'll be bringing in the rest of our infantry to support. Our Nehakara warriors will be disengaging from the Ushopti here, and we'll leave our spearmen to chase it off. Meanwhile, Ark in the Black will be doing his best to escape from here. And it looks like we have an Arkin duel on the way. So it's going to be moving in. And I guess spirit leeching our opponent here to make sure that he can actually win that duel. Looks like he's doing well enough where the chariots and Arkin have to disengage. Although maybe it is just a cycle charging that's coming in. But at the very least, we have these Ushopti shut down. They haven't actually used a lot of their ammunition, which is good and bad. It means that they have a lot of ammo for the late game, but it doesn't matter. With Arkin nearly dead, we do manage to pull out the win. So looking at our army, hex wraiths didn't do very good. Skeleton archers just paid for themselves, and our chariots didn't do good either. So not exactly sure what won us the game. I guess just Ark in the Black and crumbling away the Ushopti was really all we needed to do. Yeah, a bit strange there. But if you look at the damage values on our opponent's Ushopti, you can see why we did pretty good. Very little value there. So for our next game, we are playing up against Norska as the Beastmen. We've taken a lot of mobility, hopefully enough to deal with skin wolves, and a medium infantry front line, enough to deal with berserkers, but not enough. Well, actually, not enough to deal with berserkers, but enough to hold and enough to beat marauders, especially with our chariot coming in from our lord or from our caster. I think we should be good. He has the transformation of Kadan, which we'll be using to deal with single entities and skin wolves alike. The terror will be very useful there. And Mogr, with his chaos spawn summon, should be able to help too. So our archers have a lot of support. We're expecting they'll be able to survive long enough to shoot down any mammoths, which we wouldn't be able to kill otherwise. And our skirmishing force with axes will be able to keep away skin wolves as long as they're not getting pushed back by marauder horsemen. And there we go. That's basically our build here. Put our archers on. So put them on 2. We'll put our skirmishers on 1. And I think we're good to go. So very quickly we can tell Norska has gone for some expensive units. And yeah, that's a very good sign. Now we got a question. Throwing axes for skin wolves. Yeah, they'll be able to kite back and make sure that they can't jump on top of my archers. For actually killing them in a straight up fight, I'm not super sure if they'll be able to do that, but we'll see. For our opponent, he's gone for Wulfric, a good choice, and some Marauder Berserkers, with the rest being mobility. So I'm feeling very good about this. We'll be able to keep Wulfric back. And with this infantry here, I think we can begin cycle charging. So our opponent, a little bit slow on the draw for defending his infantry, means that we can get a lot of damage here. And as these skin wolves get closer, we can use our throwing axes to pressure them away. Meanwhile, on the right flank, we can't cycle charge there, since they... since skin wolves are ready to defend there. But our charges here with our cavalry are getting a lot of damage. And with Wulfric coming in, I think it's about time we get our Manticore summon in. A big boat comes in, means that we have to reposition our front line. And yeah, things could get dicey here if he breaks into the back line. Some Norskin wolves are coming in. They are effective versus my cavalry here, but given the amount of forces, should be able to push them back. Skin wolves are getting close to breaking through the front line though. But we've stabilized over here, which means that they will have to disengage, which is very good for us. Meanwhile, Wulfric getting pushed back by the Manticore, an effort to buy time for ourselves. And our right flank is holding up very well. All the Marauder Berserkers are coming in hot. We'll have to push them back with our Centaurs, which works out pretty well. The damage that they took early on has given them a hard time. And there we go, they're routing. So our front line stabilized with our cavalry. Skin wolves coming in onto our archers, but we're able to sandwich there. And Mogr is still healthy on the front line. Premier warriors are a bit scary, and it looks like a big burning head does indeed come in. Skin wolves do rout, and Norskin wolves also rout. We'll pull away from these Fimir, and we'll start jumping the back line with Chaos Spawn summon. We want to keep our cavalry alive. Speaking of, let's pull them back and keep our throwing axes on top of these Mist Stalkers, since they are probably the best option versus them. Meanwhile, using our cavalry, our normal Centaurs, to deal with these Skin Wolves. But they are running out. It means things could get dicey. Wulfric is also very healthy, and we've lost many of the tools to actually deal with Wulfric. But with the frontline fighting mostly dealt with, and out of the question. I think we might be able to pull through. Ooh, but a big boat comes in on top of my raiders. The main counter to Wulfric. A little bit worrying. Our caster is fairly low too, but we have another cast of a Manticore summon. And we can use that on Wulfric, since he is the biggest threat here aside from these Fimir. So let's get that summon down. We can use our caster to deal with the infantry. And cycle charging once again. We'll just be doing that as much as possible. So Manticore is up. We can send him in on Wulfric. Burning Head on my spears, a little bit worrying. And Morgur, not too worried about fighting Wulfric. His regen is very good there. Skinwolves? No, not Skinwolves. Mist Stalkers, being very hardy and quite hard to kill. Fireball into Wulfric's back. And Caster getting into a dangerous position. Skinwolves have come back. Those guys are very scary since they can kill my archers. So let's get our axes on them. In fact, they're looking pretty low. Let's get a charge in on them instead. And pray that Morgur doesn't die. Our caster still lives though. He'll be looping around to deal with those archers. Or those javelin throwers. And looks like, yes, we're able to rout off the Skinwolves with our axe throwers. We want to be getting in as much damage as possible, so we'll stay on fire at will. And let's use them to deal with Wulfric. Morgur will be trying to hit the caster instead. Damage will be better spent there. And archers are operational. Getting in a lot of damage. And Wulfric is looking pretty low now. He doesn't have a whole ton of support. And Morgur is going to be insanely hard to kill, which will buy time for our archers to fire away. Skinwolves about to rout. We'll charge them in the back to get them to finish off that routing process. And it looks like that is a good position. They do indeed break, which means we can chase them off the battlefield. Wulfric too. And the Skinwolves also. But we lose a unit of archers while I'm not looking. And Morgur is getting pretty low. Wulfric misses his hit, so we'll disengage. And we get a win. Oh my gosh. Yeah. A lot of stuff happened there at the same time. And I think, yeah. We did very well with our cavalry there. Although these guys didn't pay for themselves. I think these ones we were a bit too aggressive with. And they got taken out faster than I would have liked. Our throwing axes, surely, yeah, they got decent value. What actually paid for itself, it looks like everything just did decently, and that's all we needed to deal with Norska here. Chaos Spawn summons too, helping out a lot for sure. And yeah, all worked out well.